Good morning, cruises. So this is just a brief. A few people asked in the comments of my Instagram post on Man of La Mancha what I thought of it. Bottom line up front, it was not great. It was good. It wasn't great. Um, so the positives do outweigh the negative, but the staging was really interesting. For those that don't know, Man of La Mancha is a musical that is the fictionalized story of Miguel de Cervantes telling the story of Don Quixote, where Miguel de Cervantes is arrested by the Inquisition and in an attempt to save his manuscript from his fellow prisoners who are threatening to destroy his manuscript, he tells the story of Don Quixote, incorporating all of them into the story, making them dress up and be his fellow actors in the story of Don Quixote. And the actor playing Miguel de Cervantes also plays Don Quixote. There's the basics. The staging was really interesting. There's this incredibly impressive staircase that's very imposing and it's jutting out over the pit that the prisoners are in, and at the beginning it lowers down, and Cervantes and his servant are forced down into the pit and left there. And then it rises back up. It comes down later, and they come to take him away. Well, they take somebody else away, but anyway. That was impressive and interesting. And a lot of the secondary and tertiary performers were good singers and good performers. Kelsey Grammer was a really solid actor. His performance of Miguel de Cervantes as a man who feels like he shouldn't be in prison, but maybe he deserves it, and his idealism is under fire, and he wants to prove to these people that there's nothing wrong with being an idealist, and that sort of thing was great. You believed him when he puts on the beard to become Don Quixote, the troubled man who is confused. He's actually playing. He's got a different name. I forget it right now. Who he goes mad and believes he's Don Quixote, but his acting as Don Quixote, the crazed knight, is very good, and the way they did the tilting at windmills with shadows and everything like that, it was funny, it was enjoyable, but he just doesn't have the voice for the songs. The first big number that he sings is Man of La Mancha. I am Don Quixote, the Man of La Mancha. It's kind of a sing-spoke kind of thing, and it's dun, dun, dun. It works. It was fine. Then when he later moved into Dulcinea, it was weak. I don't want to say he missed notes, but it felt like he was off on a couple of notes. And then his Dream the Impossible Dream was not good. That's just one man's opinion. There was a lot of people cheering and clapping in the audience when that song was performed the first time, but man, I did not buy it. I did not buy him as a singer. It took me out of it every time he sang. My favorite moment in the show, there's a song called I'm Only Thinking of Him, which then becomes a reprise, We're Only Thinking of Him. Great. I'm Only Thinking of Him is a kind of comedic song where his daughter and his housekeeper each come to the priest and confess that they think something needs to be done about the man who thinks he's Don Quixote. And they're confessing and they're singing, and but seriously, they're only doing this because they're thinking of him, and it's eye-rollingly, ironically funny. And the padre has a screen, a confession screen, So he's got it set up properly for when the daughter comes and sings first. But then when the when the housekeeper comes and she realizes she can see him, he like grabs the screen and flips it over to the other side, and it's upside down. So she's trying to talk through the bottom of the screen part instead of and then the daughter notices that the screen's gone, so he pulls the screen back over to the other side while she sings. It was hilarious. I guess stunt casting is very common in Broadway and the West End, and you put a big name up so that people come to your show. And in my opinion, it just didn't work for this one. Okay, that's about it. Like I said, a little brief synopsis. I will have more exciting news about my move because it's all happening. But I just wanted to talk about Man of La Mancha really quickly. Bye.